Hi and welcome back to the beginning of day 3 of our start in Empyrion. So if you look in the top right there, we've got an arrow pointing up and countdown timer of 2019. That tells us the sun's coming up in 19 seconds. So anyway, let's just put our helmet light on by pressing L. So just to recap where we are. On day 1 we ran around, got a lot of resources, and on day 2 we set up this simple base here just by adding a number of items. But we also made armor, weapons, and we also made an SV, which is right there. So now, start of day 3, we need to decide what to do. We haven't yet dealt with any of the bolt-on quest items, or rather quest actions needed that were added in version 1.8. To start that, we would have to talk to this thing here, which we'll do in a moment. Now, overnight, as I was getting some rocks, I did find some of this ore. Here's this neodymium, if that's how you pronounce it. So I didn't know that was on this planet, but anyway, it doesn't give us enough to be able to do anything with. I did a couple of other things during the night. I made a bunch more 15mm bullets because we will get through a lot in the SV, so probably worthwhile. I also made 3 cores. It's worth carrying around a stack of cores because as you get to POIs, if the POIs have a core and you destroy it, you can place your own, and that allows you to pick up things there in their entirety. So for example, if you get to a POI and place down your core, you can pick up the fuel tank and carry it with you. Otherwise it just reduces it to its core components. So you could pick up generators and all sorts. Whatever is in the base, you could pick it up in its entirety. So it's worth carrying cores around at all time, and we will do that because everywhere we go, if it has something that we want, it's worthwhile picking up, we'll place a core down because the cores are really cheap. I can't remember how much they cost, just have a quick look. Devices. Yeah, carbon substrate, electronics, computer, optical fiber, not that cheap, but not that expensive either. Okay, and one thing we did last night, we ran around, got a load of stone because we wanted the stone dust to be able to make this base here, which is a blue moon base. So I did an FBP. What I mean by that is if you just go to the console, I typed FBP in here to go finish blueprint to get it up. So now we can actually place this. So let's just go F2, click on blue moon base and go spawn. We can place this down here. Doesn't really matter where. Now whenever you place something, it's worthwhile pressing the N key and going debug and show structural integrity. Now if everything's green, it means that the structural integrity is good. If there are any red bits, and there can often be if it's not flat ground, then you need to deal with that. So I'm not seeing any red bits, but for example we might, or we could have got, just cancelling this. If this was stuck out over a ledge, for example, and there was nothing underneath it to support it, then this would show up red. And any red bits, you just need to put some blocks underneath until you get green. But that's fine. So we'll deal with the base later because it gives us an upgraded constructor here. If just go P, and we can hit devices, and it tells us what's in the base. Now that's a large constructor. There is one grade further up called an advanced constructor, and we'll make one of, what we would do is make one of those and put it down here later on. But we've also got a fridge where we could put our consumables, for example, and we've got and this is also a food processor where we can start to make lots of food items and also medicines and also seeds which we could place in our grow plot. Now if we go over here, you've got a couple of grow plots where we could actually plant a couple of things now, but we've also got we would have to make, what's that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we'd have to make 7 more because just going F2, if you go into resource, no, I think it's salvage mode, yeah. So we could dig this out. It takes a while. Yeah, you see that countdown there, 408 for. It's not really worth doing while we've got a survival tool, because one of the 2 upgrades that we would be looking to do very, very quickly, if we just go let's just go to F3, the tech tree, and we look under tools. So one of them is a multi-tool. Now we want to unlock that, and we also want to unlock drill. Now it's highly likely where if we run off and do, let me see, just press M. All right, we haven't, there's a POI called a supply bunker, and if we go there now, we've got enough, we will meet an enemy there, but we're powered up enough to take it on with no problem. And it's likely that we will find either a multi-tool and or a drill there. Now the problem with these two, the multi-tool and the drill, is that even though they're unlocked, if we just go into multi-drill here, it needs a multi-charge to work, and for that you need Promethean pellets. Now we can get those pretty soon anyway, but also if you go to drill, we need drill charges, and again you need Promethean pellets for that. So we can't make the ammunition that is needed for the drill and the multi-tool right now. Now we might find some at the supply bunker, but yeah, it's not worthwhile doing anything with the base for now, so let's just leave it. Now we do have some consumables in here. Now if it goes bad, and as you can see some of it is going bad, it's not a problem because it's not a lot and it's easy to get more, so we're not really worried about that too much. So we've got a more base than we need, as mentioned. This is probably overkill a little bit because we don't get drone attacks, so we don't really need these guns. But it is a nice base, and it really wasn't that expensive to make. And it's only day 3, and yeah, it's a base that I'm familiar with, and it's pretty neat. And because it's got lots of room inside, it's got adequate storage to be moving on with. So the question is what to do next. Now we haven't dealt with the what is called the Tales of Tash quest at all, or the requirements of that quest. And we also discovered this thing called the obelisk. So let's go start looking at what we need to do for this Tales of Tash quest, which was added for version 1.8. So you walk up to this thing and you press F to talk. Now if you look at, it's got a bunch of information here that you can look up things like you know, animals, plants, ores, etc. You often get this message here, an internal error occurred. Just go continue, ignore it. I don't know what that's about, but that often comes up. So let's just go back to main menu. So the main one you want here is private user history. If you press that and you go private data logs, then it's got this description up here of what the Tales of Tash are. So it's a collection of 16 logs that have been left around various planets, and Tales of Tash quest requires you to go around and find all 16, so that's what that's about. So if we just close the archive here, we haven't found any at the moment, and we just go M, and then we go to this picture here, system map. So this is where we are right now, this crown system, and that's the 4 planets that we had to choose from as far as starting place was concerned. We picked Akua, of course, which is where we are at the moment. Now, there are 4 of them on Akua, 4 on Ningiz, 4 on Skillen, 4 on Maspron. So this Tales of Tash quest requires you to go to all 4 planets, and of course we're on one of them already, and run around and pick up the 4 logs from each of them. And it's kind of a story mode thing where it just gives you a story of something. I can't remember the whole thing. So let's start on that. Now the question is it worth doing? If just hit M again, eventually we're going to go to Omicron, and once we get to Omicron, then the storyline that was in the game, that started the game before version 1.8, kind of begins in Omicron. So all this has been added on at the beginning, and there are no dependencies later in the game either, so it means that you could actually skip the whole Tales of Tash thing and just go straight to Omicron. But you'd have to get there, of course, because firstly you have to warp, or secondly there is a destroyed ship. If you start flying into space here between these planets, there is a destroyed ship that has a teleporter, and if you find that, you can just jump in the teleporter, go straight to Omicron. We would leave our SV behind that way, so I think the preferred way would be to wait until we get to, I can't remember what level it is, but I think it's level 10. just go into F3 and go into small vessel. So I'm just going to unlock this in anticipation, but we would need to add a pentaxid tank. So we're going to unlock this first, fuel tank, and then pentaxid tank. We would have to bolt one of these onto the SV, and then we would have to add a short-range warp drive, which we could also just bolt on. And once we've done that, we'll be able to, but you need to be level 10 to unlock this. Then we would be able to warp to Maspron. That way we could load up with all of the stuff that we found or want to take with us. And I think that's the better way to go, because although if you wanted speed, you could just get the SV together ASAP as soon as you start the game and just head towards this ship, which is in the middle of these planets somewhere. It's nested among a bunch of asteroids, and it gives you a message once you get up there about where it is. So that is a way just to skip this whole thing, go to Omicron and just forget about Tales of Tash. If you go through all these planets here and you mine them all, go to all the POIs, well not all the POIs, some selected POIs, and get all of the loot there, you can end up with some endgame stuff. The last time I went through all 4 planets, I got some, as an example, I got some epic heavy armor. Now that's the best armor you can have in the game, and it really is excellent armor. So if I didn't do this, I wouldn't have got that. It's pretty rare finding that too. So you can get endgame gear, and it also ended up with a couple of epic weapons, which is as far as you could go. But anyway, let's just go talk to this thing again. Just go F. Now if we go to private user history again, which is gives us all the information about the Tales. Now if you press need help finding the logs, you can just do this and it tells you where they are. It tells you where the 4 are in Aqua, it tells you where the 4 are in Ningas, it tells you where the 4 are here, etc. So we just go here, then it tells us there's one right here in the scientist camp where we are, there's one in the obelisk inside, and there's one at a place called the camp, and one at a place called the dig site terminus. So let's just get out of there. For some reason you have to look away from here and then look back, and then it gives you the F to talk again. So we've done that. Now location tracker. So here are the locations of interest. Experimental farms, I'm not sure why it gives you that one, because I think that just tells you where to go to find the mini quests that the Talon farmers give. And that's the quest where it's just go find some butterflies, go kill, go pick some plants, etc. So it's kind of the activities for activity's sake ones. So we don't really need to identify where that is. But the other ones, it told us there was a Tale of Tash at the camp. So what we can do is click on there and mark the location on the HUD. So now when we look at the map, there's confirmation. Once we look at the map, we'll be able to find it on the HUD. It also said there was one at the dig site. So let's mark that location as well. Scientist camp, of course, we're at. We don't need that marked. But the only other one we want to mark is the supply bunker. There's no tail to find there, but there's a bunch of really good stuff that we want to go get. And it's probably the first POI that we want to go to. So let's do that. So let's just get it out of there. Back to main menu and then close. Alright. So now if we go M, we can find all of those places marked on the map. There's our supply bunker. Let's go there first. There's our dig site terminus, and there's the camp. So that's the 3 that we want to go to. Now, we did get a message yesterday saying we discovered the obelisk. So let's just run over here, and there is a doorway into the obelisk. But if we go up to it, it tells us this: you need the following item to access the device key matrix. Now we don't have the key matrix at the moment, but we will find it if we go to the camp, this place here. So we would just go there, we would just find it, and that would, if we have that in inventory, then we can go inside the obelisk here. And what's inside the obelisk, as well as another Tale of Tash that we need to find, just going back to M, you get 4 teleporters in there, and it takes us to each of these planets. So it means that once we've got the key matrix, we can go in there and we can teleport to each of these 4 planets to go find the Tales of Tash. So that's one way to get between the planets. The other way is just to take our SV and fly there. Now if we do that, of course, then we get there with combat ability, whereas if we just go there, then we've got our guns, but we don't have any transport. I guess you could just make more SVs and place them, and you could just teleport to each planet and do it that way. But I think the most efficient way is just to take our SV and fly to the planets. And then what we can do, we're going to start on Skillen. I've tried starting on each of these planets, and I found that the most effective one to start on is Skillen, the desert planet. Reason being that we find so much good gear there that we really are powered up by the time we get to Maspron and Ingots. There's also a POI at Maspron, which is, let's say, certainly the most challenging of all the POIs in these 4. So it's worthwhile going to Skillen just to power up before we try the POI at Maspron. So that's the reason I did that. I think this is the best one to start with, and that's Skillen. That's where we're going to head first. But anyway. So what were we doing? We were going to go to the supply bunker, and we were going to see what goods we could find there. So just going to, there are a couple of things that we really need to do, and that is just looking at tools, and that is the multi-tool and the drill. But as we saw, we can't make the ammunition that these 2 things need, but we are liable to either find a multi-tool and or a drill at the supply bunker, and that's why we're going to go there first. So let's head off. Let's just see how we're doing for fuel. Yep, that's still going. Alright, so we've got the main thing I want to make sure that we've got before we go is a core, because once you get to the supply bunker, you can destroy the core there, place our own, and that gives us access to pick up a bunch of stuff. So let's go. So F to get into the vehicle, P, go to main, and then power, and we're done. Now I did make some more bullets, so I'm just going to put those in. Alright, so I've got some fuel on us just in case we run out, and let's go. So supply bunker is over there, and let's head off. Now if you press W to go forward and you press Control as well, then you can let go of the keyboard keys and it just flies automatically. That thing on the right hand side there, we're there already. Okay. Yeah, there was sorry, just going ESC. There was a thing that went up and down here which told you where the kind of and once it's up here, it just stays there, and that's what you get with the control key. So again, I'll just do that. You just go W and you're moving forwards. But if you let go of W key, of course, you slow down. Now, if you hit the control key, you see that thing on the right goes up to 100%. You can let go of the keyboard and you just travel automatically. As mentioned, O key to stabilize as you go around, and then we can head back to the supply bunker. O key, stabilize. Press S or any other key, and it cancels the auto speed thing, or rather the cruise control thing. And then C down. So we don't want to be using power while we're inside. So let's. I don't see any enemies around which we need the turrets to deal with. So let's just get out. So let's go into the supply bunker, and I think they use this opportunity here to teach you that C is crouch, because you have to crouch to get in there. So let's do that. So I don't think you can get that gap through that gap without crouching. And then there's the, oh, oops, that wasn't intended. Yeah, don't do that. I didn't know that door was going to open automatically, but here's a, oh, we can handle that anyway because we didn't break our leg. So it's spacebar to go up a ladder. So actually, what I was intending to do there was just look around the corner to show you there was nothing there. But anyway, so that's what happens if you fall a distance. Anyway, but so what we can do there is just go 9 and just take a bandage. I made a few more bandages overnight anyway. There's a cooldown on the bandages as well when you take one, and we can take another one there. No, cooldown hasn't ended. But what we can do is we can eat some. Oh, I made some more, good. So if we eat to get over 450, we'll start gaining health there as well. So 449, one more, 494. So now we'll get that message up here and we'll start gaining health. I could probably take another bandage now. They're really cheap to make, so yeah, let's just do it just to get back to full health. Alright, so now let's do it properly. So let's go F, and you just get to the top of the ladder here, and then you just press C. And that takes you down normally. Now you've got a bunch of things here. F to sleep 8 hours, we don't want to do that. If we just go tab here, this is a shower, isn't it? Press F to shoot, yes. If you just go tab here and you look under stats, sometimes you'll see that your body radiation is crept above 0. So it's worth having a shower around because it sets it back to 0. Because eventually you do get radiation poisoning. We don't need to go in there at the moment. Now this is the wardrobe where we're hoping to get something good. It varies. What did we get? Minigun, not great. I was hoping for a drill or something, because yeah, not my favorite weapon. All right, we'll pick up that later. All right, so anyway, so F to open this again, get to the top of the ladder, and C to go down. So here's the best thing anyway. It's clone chamber. It gives us a medical station. Now, once we place our own core, we'll be able to pick this up and place it in our base. So we've actually got 2 of them, which is nice. So food, waffles, and some fried vegetables. Okay, we'll pick that up later. Okay, let's go down and deal with the... So here is an elevator shaft, and here it's just spacebar to go up and C to go down whenever you see these. And then it brings us to here. So, cannot access hangar door. Now if you get beyond this hangar here, you'll find that there's a robot behind there which is going to start firing at us. So what we're going to do is we're just going to tank it, because we've got 500 health. It only takes 100, maximum 200 I think, if we tank it. Just make sure we are armed up. Loaded, that is. So R to load, and let's just tank it. Where is he? Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Hello? Ah, I think this is one of the bugs in the game, where you arrive at a POI and there are no enemies. Interesting. So yeah, you've got to watch out for this. Yeah, we get to some POIs, and if you go in and there are no enemies, it means that you've been hit by that bug. So we're going to go outside, see up top. Okay, so we're back where we started. The only way to deal with that bug is to log out, log back in. Log out, log back in again, and the enemies should spawn, so let's do that. Alright, so hopefully the enemies should be there now that we've logged back in. So I'm going to head back to where we were, see you down there. Yeah, I can hear that the enemies have spawned back in. I'm in this elevator shaft. So as soon as we get down there, we're going to meet that robot that's going to shoot at us. So we're just going to tank it. So let's go. Where is he? There he is. Okay, we only lost 8 health. Not bad. Now, as well as this guy, so we can loot him. He'll give us a couple of bullets. As well as that guy there, if you look around, there's this bunch of robots. They don't seem to do anything. They just kind of run around, and I think we can ignore them. You can just shoot them, damaged cyborgs. I'm not sure if they're supposed to do anything or if that's a bug, but they never do. If you kill them, they drop things called coolant and spare parts, which you can actually sell. Anyway, we're not going to bother with them. Destroy it. Actually, let's use this. So as soon as you've done that, you can place your own core. So we're just going to use the 1 slot. Press 1 there. So now this place is ours, and it allows you to do a couple of things. If you hit P, you can actually loot it. Let's try that again. P. So sorry, F4. So you've got the supply bunker here now, and you can choose which container you want to access. And you could loot it just by going down the list here and just taking stuff out of each one. That's one option. Now I thought P would give us access. Yes, it does give us. Why didn't it do that before? I don't know. But here's the supply bunker base anyway. Tells us that there's 90% oxygen, 6% fuel. Would we want to use this as a base? Probably not, just because it's kind of inconvenient where it's placed. So all we want to really do is just loot this place. So that's what we're going to do. Now, where would we find? So I'm just going to go F4 again and just look through all of the pallets. Ah, there's one right there. That's what I was hoping for, a multi-tool. So now we just need the ammunition for it. Question is, do we have any? Normally there is some, not always, because the loot tables do vary. So we just got to cross our fingers that we got some ammunition for it. There's the fridge upstairs, repair station. No, we don't. Well, that's a shame, because otherwise, and we can't make the ammunition either. Because just equipping it, if we press 4, sorry, 4, not F4. So you do get this option, retrieve blocks, which returns intact blocks from structures. So you can pick things up like the doors, for example. So, oh, it is armed. I don't think it was. So this will pick up the, for example, that just gave us an armed door. Okay. So let's just pick up everything anyway. I don't think there's nothing at the top of that. So I don't even know why that's there. It's worth picking up these consoles because you can sell them later. Again, we'll just open this, pick up this blast door. So what I'm going to do is just loot each container and then just pick up the container like so. And I'll see you when we're done, and we'll be able to look at all of the stuff that we've got from here. Alright, so we finished with the place and we're now back to here. We don't need to crouch to get out because we can just zap these things here. Just there we go. Okay, now I did run out of inventory space, so I put things into, so just going F4, it now gives us a choice of scout or supply bunker. So there's nothing left in the supply bunker because I picked everything up. And just going to the scout, this is everything we picked up in the supply bunker. I'm just going to add this. Now the scout does have a fridge as well, by the way, so you can put food in there and it won't go bad. And we don't need, that's 150, we don't need to eat that right now. But if we just go back to the content, what we picked up, not a bad haul. We got a couple of small generators. We'll get a deconstructor later on. We'll be able to deconstruct a lot of this stuff. Now there's a couple of medical devices. That's going to be useful because we don't have any meds on us at the moment. And if we pick up something, then we're not going to be able to fix it. But what we can do is we just go to, I'm just going to put this in the one slot here, replace the cores. So let's just get out of the vehicle. Now if you go 1, then because we own this we can place it, but if you right mouse click here, it gives you all of the choices that you could do with the medic station, and depending on which one you want to place down. So what we could do in the base, for example, is we could place that down like so. And that allows us to get full health. For example, we lost a little bit of health. We could just go F now. Gets us back to 500. And then if we, well, we have 2 medic stations anyway, but what we can do is pick that back up. And we could just replace it. And let's say if we right mouse click here, that we had a radiation burn, we could just place down medical type 4. We just place down one of those and then we could fix it with that. So without the meds, we would just need access to a base where we could where we have these medical stations where we can fix up any problems that we've got. So we don't want to get too far from home. Now, the way this can work without the meds is that while we are running around, sorry, not there, here, while we're running around here, you might just have to run back to the obelisk and then teleport back to Akua to fix any things that we pick up if we don't have the right meds. Alright, so let's power up and get home. So where is home firstly? I'm heading towards the dig site terminus. Yeah, it's slightly over here. So you do have a detector there which you can ping. And a quick way to level up here is just to travel around, and as you discover things, you get reputation points. So you could see that we needed to get to level 10 for a couple of things, and that is by far the quickest way to level up now. And that is just fly around discovering certain things. Especially on the, I think it's the desert planet Skilla, where there's a lot to discover. So as far as the start guide, I think that's about as far as we want to go, because it's really how to play the game after this is really, there's lots and lots of options, but I'm going to keep it going and stop calling it a start guide, and what I'm going to do is just start calling it episode 4, episode 5. And we'll hit things like the dig site terminus, pick up all the Tales of Tash on this planet. Just one thing before we go, it's just something I noticed, so let's just power down first. If we just go to M4, so this is everything we picked up at the supply bunker there, which we can now place down in our base. Another large constructor, which we don't particularly need. As I said, the medical devices are the best thing that we got there. Shame that we didn't get any ammunition for a drill or a drill. We got this instead, which is a pity because we're not going to use that. We got 6 fuel packs. Again, not great, but anyway, the thing that I was going to point out is this volume thing down here. We're way over our maximum. Now I'm playing on vanilla assumptions, and the vanilla assumptions, if you go to the difficulty settings at outset, you're going to see 3 lines that affect us here. Now, one of those lines is check mass volume, and it says false. That's the default assumption. So that means that it doesn't restrict you to these volume limits here. Same here. So it means that you can run around. You could pretty much ignore this. The same thing happens with the vehicles. If you go P, and you see that we're over our CPU usage here. Now the way to think about CPU is it's like a weight limit for vehicles and also for buildings. And if you go over that weight limit, then things don't stop working correctly. So you got CPU efficiency here 100%, and it says that it's off. And again, that's another line in the difficulty settings which says CPU points false, and that's the default vanilla assumption. So it doesn't hold you to the CPU thing. So the reason that we went over the 6,000 there is because we added the thruster and the 2 guns earlier, and we could keep adding more, but if we had the CPU points true, that is we were holding ourselves to the CPU efficiency, so we turned this on, then it would mean that we would have to upgrade our CPU here. And the way we would do that is basically go F3 into small vessel, and it's down here somewhere, CPU extender C2, and that would increase what is effectively our weight limit, which we could use on the small vessel, and the base would also have the same thing. But because we're playing vanilla assumptions, we don't have those limitations, but you do have those limitations, or rather you do see those limitations in some playthroughs if that's settings. So the other one in the difficulty settings that is of, do have a light in this? No, we don't. Okay, so let's just get out, go L for light. So the other difficulty setting of interest, just worth mentioning now, is it's one called auto miner depletion. Now the default vanilla assumption says auto miner depletion true, which means that the auto miners, when we start placing them, Because if we just go to M, and there is another console command here, sorry, let's go console commands, and just go map. Well, firstly, let's just go M. You've got this dark shaded area that we haven't been to yet. So if we go F3, sorry, console command, which is the tilde key, and just type map, that will just open up the entire map. And we can close it just by putting map hide. So now if we go map, it shows us the entire planet, but it also shows us all of the things on the planet. Oh, you got a silicon meteorite, okay. So it shows us these deposits here, carbon medium. So for example, it might be worthwhile, rather than manually go mining these mines, you can place auto miners on them. And it's what I'll be doing in the future. So I'll keep this playthrough going anyway, and so that's one of the things I'm going to go for pretty soon, and that is to start putting some auto miners on things like this carbon ore. That's medium as well, which means it picks it up faster, and this carbon ore, this will give us carbon substrate, so it means that we don't have to go around hitting up rocks anymore. It's probably not worth putting it on small mines because you don't get that much, so probably you won't. But anyway, we'll do that in the future. But yeah, it says auto miner depletion true. What I found is if you put an auto miner onto a mine, it just keeps going and it does not deplete. The only exception on that, for some reason, is promethium, which I found that if you place an auto miner on a promethium mine, it does deplete. So you come back and there's nothing left to auto mine, so you pick up the auto miner and move on. But I haven't seen that happen with any other type of ore. Now you can use auto miners with every type of ore except for, you can't use it with gold, I don't think. But that's about that. So anyway, I'll keep this, so that's the end of the start guide, because we're pretty much set up and armed for bear now. But I'll keep this going, and what I'll do in the next episode, if we just go M again, we've still got everything loaded up here. I'll hit the, I'll pick up all the Tales of Tash from the, from Akua, and get inside the obelisk, and then we'll fly to, let me see which one we can start with again. And then we'll fly to Skillen later on and deal with all the POIs there. We'll be getting a lot of really good stuff in Skillen. We're not going to pick up too much from the POIs in Akua, but Skillen, yeah, we'll be picking up a lot of good gear there. So anyway, I've got that to look forward to. So thanks for watching, and if you're starting in the game, hope that all helped, and maybe see you for episode 4. So thanks for watching again. Bye.